It was 3 o'clock in the afternoon when I arrived at the house. Harry's Volvo was nowhere to be seen. For a moment I panicked, but then I realized that school was over for the day and Harry had left to pick up the kids. I entered and immediately went up to the bedroom. I threw my bag on the bed and went to the bathroom to wash myself. I wanted to look my best when he got home. Returning to the bedroom, I sat down at the dressing table and put on my makeup. I spent a lot of time getting my lips in order. Without hearing a sound from below, I unpacked my bag. I went downstairs with an armful of laundry to put it in the car. Harry and the children were still not home, and I began to worry. Coming out of the utility room, I saw a stack of papers on the dining table. The paper turned out to be the manuscript of Mark's novel, but there was an envelope on top. I stood and looked at it for several minutes, afraid to read it. I knew I had to open it, but it took all my willpower to force myself to do it. When I read the first few sentences, relief washed over me. "Hi, Issy. Emma's best friend from school tested positive for corona, so we will have to isolate for 10 days. I thought Chelsea would be a better place for isolation than here. Mom would make sure there was plenty of food there, so we all went to Chelsea for 10 days. At least they have sea and wildlife there to explore. They can use my computer and laptop for online learning." The knot in my stomach eased and my whole body relaxed. Then I started reading further. I looked at your boyfriend's manuscript and... Oh yeah, I know all about your dirty little business. You shouldn't have said you were going to meet the people I work for. When Larry called, I asked how he had lunch with you. He said he hadn't seen you in months. I found out over the phone that you were at our hotel. How could you do this? Take him to our special places? They belong to us, damn it. Not to a place where you share yourself with everyone and everything. Sorry, I got off topic. I was talking about a lover's manuscript. It doesn't matter how many editors you put on it. There is no way to make this garbage sell. I'll ask the kids to call you. I'll bring them home in 10 days, which will give you time to arrange childcare. Bye, Harry. "No, Harry, don't do this!" I screamed, trying to find my phone. He doesn't mean anything to me. I found a phone and called him. I heard a dial tone, but received no answer. After some time, a voice message arrived. "Hello, you've reached Harry Roberts. I'm busy right now, but if you leave your name and phone number, I'll call you back. Harry, I'm home." I read the note. "Please call me. By landline or mobile, I'll be waiting. I love you." I walked back and forth in the kitchen and dining room, wringing my hands and talking to myself. How long has he known? Was that why he didn't want me to leave? What did he mean when he said it was time to take care of the children? Oh God, he won't come back. "I will bring the children in 10 days, the note said. Of course, if he was going to stay, he would have said that we would be home in 10 days. I called him again, and it went to voicemail. "Please, Harry, don't do this. Talk to me. I know I messed it up, but we can fix it. Don't do this to us. You're much better. Please call me. Please, Harry, I love you so much. I don't want to lose you." I turned off the ringer and stood there looking at the phone, willing it to ring. But of course it didn't. As I waited, my stomach reminded me that I hadn't eaten since breakfast. I made myself a sandwich, and while I was eating, the phone rang. I ran across the room and found Harry calling me. I wiped my eyes with a napkin and brushed my hair back before answering. When I did this, two faces were looking at me from the phone. "Mommy!" they shouted. I thought I had no more tears, but as soon as I saw them, I started crying again. Andrew was the first to notice. "Are you crying, Mom? What's happened?" I dabbed my eyes again with the napkin. "It's okay. I'm just so glad to see you both." "Is Dad there?" "Yes, he is preparing dinner. He said we should call you before we eat. They told me how they played in the garden and watched different seabirds on the beach. I saw a cormorant sitting on the edge of the groin," Emma told me. "What is groin, dear?" Dad said that this is the name of the large wooden fences that go down into the sea. Andrew called them breakwaters, but Dad said they were called groins. If Dad said so, then I'm sure he's right. "You are doing homework?" "Yes, I use my dad's laptop, and Andrew uses a big computer." "What about you, Andrew? Do you like studying online?" "Everything is fine, but I can only see the teacher. It would be better if I could see my friends too. I heard Harry's voice calling them to dinner, and they began to say goodbye. Honey, before you finish, could you please pass the phone to Dad? I saw the background move as Andrew carried his phone. The screen turned some kind of blurry pink, and I heard Andrew. Mom wants to talk to you, he said. I heard his footsteps on the wooden floor, and then the door slamming before the picture came back, and I saw Harry's face. There was something about him that I had seen before, but did not notice. His eyes looked tired. I had seen this before, and thought it was a lack of sleep. Now I looked at him and saw that he was not only tired, the sparkle in his eyes had disappeared. He looked sad. Hello, Issy. How can I help you? How are you, Harry? In my opinion, the phrase, as expected, what is there to talk about? Wasn't my note clear? No, most likely not. I wasn't thinking very well at the time. Having your wife go away for a couple of days to see her lover did that to me. I almost begged you not to go, but you went anyway. The one who is better wins. What can I say? If you had called me last night, I would have told you that we were not at home. You could come here and screw yourself stupidly. Stop it. Stop it immediately. He's not the best person. He's not half the person you are, and I couldn't bring him home because the last time I saw him, he was up to his neck in a canal, clinging to a life belt. Everything is over. I know this wasn't supposed to start. I feel so stupid, but last night I came to my senses. I see, and that makes everything all right. The fact that you came to your senses. No, of course not. We can't do this over the phone, Harry. I need to be with you so you can see how sorry I am. I'll get in the car now and come. No, you can't do that. We are in isolation so as not to spread the disease. We can all get infected. I'm probably already infected. We isolate ourselves so we don't pass it on to anyone else. As I said in the note, I will bring the children in 10 days, 14 at the most. Does this mean that you will return home? Mom says I can stay here. This is a good place to work. I thought we could look after the children together. One of us may be with them during the week and the other on the weekend. Think about it and let me know what you want to do. If I have them for a week, they will have to change schools. I couldn't believe he could be so calm and matter-of-fact as I wiped away my tears the entire time he spoke. He looked so calm. It took me a while to realize that he was calm because he had given up. Please don't do this, Harry. Don't leave us. For the first time, I saw a flash of anger. We are not here. You left us months ago. Have you listened to yourself lately? When was the last time we planned what we were going to do instead of what you were going to do? You left the team, not me. I did everything I could to get you back. I've tried flowers, special foods, dates you turned your back on, even tried to show you that you're putting us all in danger because of this damn virus. Ha! Look at the irony in that. You walk around with your lover, and I stay at home, away from everyone, and it is I who most likely become infected. While he was talking, I remembered everything. He did all this, and I chalked it up to Harry being Harry, trying to get me to go away for the weekend when I insisted I had to work. It was true. I fell behind on work, but only because I spent time with Mark. I was so lost in my thoughts that I almost missed his words. I have to go. I don't want the children to see how upset I am. I'll make sure they call you every evening. Good night. Don't go, Harry. I love you. I need you. Please come home. I'm late. The screen froze, then went dark, and I realized that he had hung up. I tried my best not to cry again. Some darkness fell over me. Life around me went on as usual, but for me, everything stood still. I didn't pay attention to the street. Traffic. I didn't notice how the sun was setting. I sat on the edge of the sofa, rocking back and forth, shutting it all out. Issy, what happened? I heard these words and felt someone shaking my shoulder. What are you doing here, sitting in the dark? I turned in the direction of the voice, and as my eyes began to focus, I saw my mother's face looking at me. Mom, what are you doing here? Harry called. He said you needed me, so I came as soon as I could. What is this? What's happened? He left me, Mom. I was such a fool, and now he's gone. Nonsense. He told me everything. They just isolate themselves there. They will return in 10 days. No, you don't understand. He said he'd bring the kids home, but he didn't say he'd come back, and it's all my fault. I thought I was being very smart, but he knew. He knew all this time, and now I've lost him. I don't believe that for a minute. Harry's not like that. He loves you to death. There's nothing you can do to drive him away. I did it. I broke the heart of the sweetest and kindest man in the world, and now he hates me for it. Mom sat down next to me and hugged me, and the floodgates opened again, and I cried like I had never cried. Mom just held me, rubbing my shoulders while I cried. When I managed to pull myself together, I pulled away and looked into her eyes. Oh, Mom, what should I do? I can't live without him. Enough chatting. I'm already here, so the question is, what are we going to do? First, we'll turn on the lights, and then I'll make us a nice cup of tea. After we've had tea, I'll call Harry and share my thoughts with him. No, Mom, don't do this. You don't know the whole story yet. You'll only make it worse. In that case, we'll have some tea and you'll tell me everything. Mom believes that there is no situation that could not be improved with a cup of tea. Harry and I often laughed about this. Oh God, he said, did you cut off your leg? It's okay. I'll make you a cup of tea. We could have laughed about it, but sitting at the table and drinking tea with my mother really made me feel better. I started from the beginning and told her the whole story. When I told her about that first night, she looked at me darkly. I thought we raised you better, she said. Mom, I said, if I'm going to finish this, you have to withhold judgment. Okay, continue. I told her everything, even though I had never refused Harry when he was excited, thinking that it would keep him from getting suspicious. When I got to my last night with Mark, she brought her hand to her mouth. Did he rape you? No, Mom. I went there myself to have sex with him, just not like that. You said no, but he forced you. This is rape. You asked him to stop, but he just continued. This is rape. We need to talk to the police. I can't, Mom. No jury will convict him. I'm a married woman, and he was my longtime lover. That's all they'll see. So he can get away with it? Not really. I pushed him into the canal. Okay. I hope he drowned. No. I threw him a life belt. Life belt? I'd throw him an anvil or something heavy to pull the bastard down. Does Harry know about this? No. And you can't tell him. He'll try to kill Mark, and it might end up worse. Well, I can tell you one thing. Harry still loves you. Oh, I'm not too sure about that. I caused him great pain. He called me, didn't he? He knew you were in this condition, so he called me to help you. It means he cares about you. Don't give up on him. I won't, Mom, but I think he abandoned me. He cuts me out of his life. Then prove him wrong. Let him cool down a bit, and then show him how much you love him, and keep in mind that if you ever do something like that again, Harry won't be the only one leaving you. Harry was true to his word. Every day we communicated with children. Every time I asked to talk to Dad, but he was always busy cooking or working. On the fourth day, I heard someone coughing. I asked Andrew who it was. Oh, this is Dad. He says he has a cold. Please give him the phone. I don't care what he does. I need to talk to him. The background flashed as Andrew carried the phone into the kitchen where Harry was cooking. How can I help you? Andrew said you have a cough. It's just a cold, no big deal. Something doesn't look like it. No, I just have a little pressure in my chest. Nothing to worry about. I can't help it. I want you to promise that you will take care of yourself. Yes, I promise. Now I have to cook dinner, so excuse me. He hung up again before I could tell him I loved him. In the days that followed, his cough seemed to get better, and I thought I was worrying for nothing. Then the call came on the morning of the day they were supposed to return. Andrew called and he was very upset. Hello, dear. Are you ready to go home today? Oh, yes, but could you come get us? Of course I can, but why can't Dad bring you home? He is unable to drive, so he asked me to call you. What's wrong with him, Andrew? Can you describe? I don't know, Mom. He just sits in bed and breathes strangely. It was like he was running. I think he might have COVID, and I don't know what to do. Andrew began to sob, and I tried my best to calm him down. Okay, honey, you did great. Now I need you to do something else. I'll get in the car as soon as I hang up. When I do this, I want you to dial 9999 and ask for an ambulance. Tell them what you just told me about Dad's breathing, and tell them you think he has COVID. I'll be there in 2 hours, maybe less. If anything else comes up, call immediately. I threw a few things into my bag and ran to the car. It's amazing how quickly you can get there when there is no traffic. The lockdown meant people weren't supposed to travel, but of course some did. However, fewer cars on the road meant that normally crowded spaces were free. 90 minutes after Andrew called, I pulled up to the house in Chelsea. There was an ambulance in the driveway, the side door open. I grabbed my bag and ran to the house. Walking past the ambulance, I noticed that someone was moving inside. I turned to look inside and saw a paramedic in full uniform tending to someone on a gurney. I had already placed one foot on the step when the paramedic appeared in front of me. "You can't enter. This is now a contaminated area." I barely recognized Harry lying on the gurney. The oxygen mask covered most of his face, and his eyes appeared dead. I could hear his chest wheezing as he breathed. "How is he?" I asked the paramedic. "Not very good, but there have been worse cases. He'll feel better once we get him to the hospital." "Where are you taking him?" "St. Richard's in Chichester, but no one is allowed there." "Hold on, Harry. We will be waiting for you to return home. We love you, Harry." I turned towards the house, and as soon as I opened the door, I was hugged by 2 crying children. Behind them stood a female paramedic who Harry would describe as a beautiful, large girl. "My name is Maggie. I understand you are their mother." "Yes, I just came from Red Hill to pick them up. They were isolated here." "I know, Andrew has already explained. You have great kids. They helped me a lot. Now that you're here, we can hit the road." "Don't leave yet. He needs a phone and a charger. We may not be allowed to visit him, but at least we can support him over the phone." I knelt down in front of the children. "Now I want you to think. Do any of you know where Dad's phone is?" "I know," Emma said. "He's in the kitchen, charging. I can bring it." "No, I'll bring it. Just show me where it is," said Maggie. The 2 of them went to the kitchen and soon returned with Harry's phone and charger. "Do I need to disinfect anything?" "Lock his room and don't go there for 3 days. Otherwise, just keep washing your hands and you'll be fine." Maggie walked away, and we all had tears in our eyes as the ambulance pulled out of the driveway. The children were full of questions about the practical side of life. How will we be able to visit Harry if we are in Red Hill, and if not, how will they go to school? They were very disappointed to learn that we could not visit the hospital. However, they seemed relieved to hear that all the schools were locked, and we would remain in Chelsea to await Harry's return. We went for a walk on the beach, which seemed to make everyone feel better. Emma seemed quiet all day, and it wasn't until bedtime that I found out why. I was putting her to bed when she asked a question that had been bothering her all day. "Mom, honey, Daddy got sick because of this nasty virus, but Kylie got infected, and we sat together at school. Maybe I took it from her and gave it to Dad." "Were you sick?" "No." "Well, then you couldn't catch it from Kylie, and if you didn't catch it, you couldn't give it to Dad." I hated lying to her, but no child should go through life thinking they infected their father. By the time I made my bed in the empty bedroom, I was exhausted, both mentally and physically. I lay on the bed and looked at the ceiling. I'm not a religious person, but I started talking as if someone was listening. "Why are you doing it? What did he even do? It was I who did wrong. I deserve to be punished. All Harry did was be a good husband and father. What did my children do? Why do they deserve to suffer?" Needless to say, I received no response. When I called the next day, I took the phone to the garage so I could be alone, and I was glad I did. I barely recognized him. He was so pale. The oxygen mask was replaced with tubes in his nose. He told me that the doctor was unhappy with his progress and they might need to put him on a more active oxygen system. We talked about why we are in Chelsea. "You can't visit me, so you might as well go back to Red Hill."